It was a humid Friday night in early October, around 1:30 a.m., when 22-year-old Tyler pulled his beat-up Honda Civic into the gravel lot of a 24-hour self-service car wash off Highway 9. Tyler worked late-night inventory shifts at a local warehouse, and after driving down backcountry access roads dusted with fresh gravel, his car was caked in grime. The car wash was old and isolated, surrounded on three sides by dense pine woods, and illuminated only by the buzzing, harsh glare of a single overhead sodium bulb that cast long, amber shadows across the wet concrete. The place was entirely dead. No other cars, no gas station down the road, just the hum of the high-voltage power lines running through the forest behind the wash bays. Tyler stepped out into the muggy night air, the smell of damp earth heavy around him. He walked over to the rusted metal coin box in Bay 3, fed 4 crumpled dollar bills into the feeder, and selected the high-pressure soap wash. The machinery in the pump room groaned loudly, pipes clanking behind the cinderblock wall before the hose in his hand shuddered to life. For the first couple of minutes, everything was completely normal. Tyler paced around the Civic, spraying thick, white soap foam across the hood and doors, listening to the monotonous roar of pressurized water. He was practically on autopilot, exhausted from an 8-hour shift and thinking about going home to sleep. Then, he heard a sound over the blast of the hose. It wasn't loud, just a soft, metallic clink coming from the darkness beyond the far edge of the concrete bay. Tyler turned off the pressure wand trigger, letting the motor drop into a low, idled thrum. He wiped a streak of soap from his forehead and squinted out past the illuminated concrete into the treeline. The sodium light bled out about 20 feet before dying into pitch-black woods. "Hello?" he called out, his voice sounding thin against the empty night. Nothing answered. Just the sound of flicking off his car frame onto the floor drain. Tyler shook his head, brushing it off as a deer or a stray dog moving through the brush. He raised the wand again, sweeping a heavy layer of pink wax over the rear windshield. That was when he saw it in the glass. Reflected in the wet, soap-streaked rear window of his car was a pair of dirty white sneakers standing less than 10 feet behind him. Tyler froze, his heart slamming into his ribs like a trapped bird. He didn't turn around immediately. Through the hazy reflection, he watched as a tall, gaunt man in a faded navy track jacket took another slow, silent step closer. The man's hands were stuffed deep into his pockets, his shoulders hunched, his head tilted sideways at an unnatural angle. Tyler slowly turned around, keeping the heavy metal pressure wand raised like a weapon. "Can I help you, man?" Tyler asked, trying to keep his voice steady, though his hand was trembling violently. The man didn't answer. He was pale, sickly so, with dark, hollow circles carved deep around his eyes. His jaw was clenched tight, and he was staring straight at Tyler without blinking. He didn't look drunk or high, his expression was completely flat, empty, and hyper-focused. "I'm just washing my car," Tyler said, taking a step back toward his open driver's side door. "The coin machine is on the far wall if you need change." The man took another step forward. Slowly, deliberately, he pulled his right hand out of his jacket pocket. He wasn't holding a knife or a gun. He was holding a heavy, industrial-grade pair of bolt cutters. Tyler didn't waste another second talking. He threw the spraying hose straight at the man's face, cold water blasting him in the chest. The stranger didn't even flinch. He just raised the bolt cutters and lunged forward with a low, guttural grunt. Tyler scrambled backward, his shoe slipping on the slick, soapy concrete. He caught himself on the frame of his driver's door, dove headfirst into the front seat, and slammed the door shut just as a heavy metal impact shattered his side mirror into fragments. Clang! The man swung the bolt cutters against the driver's side window, spiderwebbing the glass into 1,000 frosted cracks. "Get out!" a voice screamed from outside. It was a raspy, screeching voice that didn't sound entirely human. "Get out of the car!" Panic turned Tyler's blood to ice. He fumbled frantically for his keys, which had slipped out of his pocket onto the floorboards. The window groaned under a second blow, small glass fragments raining down onto Tyler's shoulder. "Come on, come on." Tyler sobbed, his hands slick with sweat as he swept his fingers under the gas pedal, finally catching the keyring. He jammed the key into the ignition, turning it wildly just as the driver's side window completely gave way, caving inward. A cold, scarred hand reached through the shattered frame, grabbing Tyler by the collar of his shirt and yanking him backward against the headrest. The smell of copper, mud, and stale sweat filled the cabin. Tyler screamed, slamming his foot down on the gas pedal while yanking the gear shift into reverse. The Civic's engine roared to life, tires screeching wildly against the wet concrete as the car shot backward out of the bay. The sudden jolt yanked the man off his feet. His grip snapped from Tyler's shirt, his head cracking hard against the roof frame before he tumbled onto the asphalt. Tyler slammed on the brakes at the edge of the lot, shifted into drive, and floored it. The tires smoked, catching traction on the asphalt, and the car shot out onto the pitch-black highway. Looking back in his rearview mirror through the cracked, shattered glass, Tyler saw the man slowly pushing himself up from the ground under the yellow glow of the sodium light. He didn't run after the car. He just stood there, wiping blood from his forehead, holding the bolt cutters, watching Tyler drive away until the red taillights vanished into the dark. When the state police investigated the wash bay half an hour later, they found no trace of the man. But behind the pump room in the woods, officers discovered a stolen pickup truck hidden under a camo tarp, and inside the bed were 3 heavy-duty plastic zip ties, a roll of duct tape, and 2 empty vehicle registration cards belonging to missing drivers from the next county over. Tyler never washed his car at night again.